Hello everyone. Today for my TED Talk, TIFHR style, we're going to be looking at a very important topic, and that topic involves a vulnerable population that we should care very much about, and that is the youth of the United States. And just looking at the youth, they make up 22% of our population. 22% of those that are in the United States are under the ages of 18. And it's important that we look at the youth because they are the future and they are what make up what will come in the United States. Now, so while we're looking at the youth and the importance of the youth, we need to understand that as children are developing, there's a different kind of development that most people don't understand, and that's the development between gray matter and white matter. Gray matter, while you're younger, is important because gray matter is far more moldable. But as you grow older, and when you start turning around the age of 25, your brain starts to solidify more white matter. And if you look at brain scans of little kids, as they grow older, their gray matter slowly transforms into white matter. And that's why you have adults or elderly people who are really stuck in their ways and they're real stubborn. It's because they have that stronger influence of gray matter versus white matter, or stronger influence of white matter over gray matter. Now, you might wonder, why is this so important? Why is it important to know that gray matter can affect how moldable a child's mind is, especially at a young age? Well, we can kind of make some comparisons or some parallels from an example of a village in Guatemala. There was a point in time where the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints went down to this village in Guatemala, and they wanted to help serve and help better this community, this little pueblocito, they might call it. And in this little town, Guatemala had this issue that their sewage was not exactly the best. They had little to no toilets, and there was no maintenance or proper cleaning. Now, the church came in and they developed this system of toilets and better sewage and a maintenance system, and it even created jobs, and it was a very sustainable system. And the thought was this would produce a better environment and a safer environment from a public health standpoint. But later on, what they realized, as all their sewage was properly disposed of, that year, the crops of that town died. And you might wonder, how could the crops have died? It was because the fecal matter that was being disposed of in the crops was no longer there, and it was getting disposed of. It was getting properly disposed through the channels of sewage. But that meant that the food yield that year was not sufficient. And so it's important from a public health standpoint to look at what happens when a change in the environment occurs. And when that change occurs, what the effects could be from that change. Now, as public health officials, we can compare this story in Guatemala to the youth that we care so much about. A controversial topic in society very recently has been the debate over transgenderism. Now, the ideology of transgenderism first came from the idea of affirming the thoughts and beliefs of those who had gender dysphoria. And the idea was that helping them and being very pro change for them by helping them get on puberty blockers and having sex change surgeries and affirming these gender beliefs, that this would, in result, help them and help their mental health. But as we've looked down the road, other effects have come from this. By putting kids on puberty blockers, they have become sterilized. To go along with that, higher rates of suicide occurred. And on top of that, mental health issues have skyrocketed. And that being said, it was important to learn this issue, but what came from this was a new idea and understanding that perhaps this is not the best route to take. And maybe there's other routes that could lead to better treatment and help for these individuals who experience gender dysphoria. Um, just a reminder to my fellow public health officials and those aspiring to help change the community for the better. We have that opportunity, and one of the best ways we can help is by making sure we look at the changes that can occur in the future. And outside of that, there's nothing more we can do but be faithful to those we serve and helpful always. Thanks for attending my TED Talk, and I wish you the best Thanksgiving.